Hi, my name is Eryn Lane, and today I'm going to be doing a Draw My Life. It all started on December 2nd, 1999, in a little town, Berwyn, Illinois. During my birth, Silent Night was playing, which is kind of ironic since I'm not a quiet person at all. I was born to my parents, Melanie Lane, that's her, haha, she doesn't really look like that, and then my dad, Robert Lane. He doesn't look like that either. And then I have three older brothers. My first older brother is Ryan. He's kind of the nerd of the family. And then my second brother, Matthew. He is the only one in my family who is blonde, besides me. And then my youngest brother, and probably the most annoying, is Nathaniel. And he's probably the most chilled one too. So this is the family that I was born into. So that's the Lane family, minus me, but of course I'm in there. So flash forward a year and a half later, life's pretty good. You know, my brothers are, annoying, but my parents love me. And when I was about 18 months old, I started getting really sick, and they took me to the hospital, and Edward Hospital in Naperville, in case you were wondering, and it turns out that I had E. coli, and I was staying in the intensive care unit for 7 days. And my parents were really worried. They weren't sure if I was going to make it out alive, because I was not getting much better. And, of course I did, obviously. I'm here today. But, I made it out because I'm amazing, awesome, and powerful. So, during my childhood, I had a best friend, and her name was Michaela. And she lived in this big house across the street. It was always super nice. I was always jealous of her parents' bedroom. It was really big. And she lived right across the street from me. So there's that little street there. And Michaela and I did everything together. We would go to the park, or we'd even go in her backyard where she had a swing set. And then when she got a laptop, which was a huge deal at the time, we would make really silly videos and just play with that and post them on Facebook. And then we played softball together when we were 6, but that was very short-lived experience after I threw a baseball at her and she did not catch it, and she ended up getting a bloody nose, and she refused to play after that. And so we were friends for a very long time, but as we grew up, we kind of grew apart, and that's us grown up. That's Michaela. And when we were in 6th grade, she kind of told me that she didn't really want to be friends anymore. And that was just kind of shocking for me. She had been my best friend through everything. And so I was just kind of sad and questioning where our friendship went wrong. I didn't really understand what I did. And I just had a lot of unanswered questions. And but we're good today. We're fine today. And then, during that same year, I became an aunt for the first time to my niece and nephew, Alyssa and Carter. And I love them so, so, so much. I was so happy to become an aunt. And today, I currently have 8 nieces and nephews, so I have lots of love to go around. And I have Alyssa, Zoe, Carter, Maddox, Eliza, Marianne, Amelia, and Jack. So I have lots of them. And Christmas of 2012, flash forward almost a year, and my mom, so Christmas 2012 was a pretty bad year for us, at least in that sense. My mom was starting to get her period again, which was weird because she was done with her period for a really long time. So she decided to go to the doctor, and she didn't really think much of it. She probably just thought that it was part of menopause. And the doctor looked at her and said, "Oh, like this isn't really normal. I'm gonna take some blood samples because this could be cancer." And my family just kind of freaked out. I remember me and my mom were packing for Florida, and my mom just started crying, and I couldn't imagine life without my mom. And she was just like, the thought just circled around her all the time of the possibility, like, could she have cancer? And this thought just was all the time. And when we went to Florida, and my mom was still just like, do I have cancer? Like, it was just a constant thought in her mind. And so while we were in Florida, my mom got the call from the doctor, and she told her that my mom, thankfully, did not have cancer. And I just remember like being so thankful and so happy, and finally like my mom could no longer worry about it, and my family didn't have to worry about it. And honestly, it was probably the best Christmas present ever that my mom has ever received, or that my family has ever received. And then, so during this time, I had made some new friends, and we were going through some problems, and we just were not getting along anymore. And it was just really bad. Like, there were constant tears, there was constant fighting, and I didn't know what to do because I had not experienced this much drama since me and Michaela stopped being friends, and it was really putting a strain on our relationship. So then going into that summer, I didn't really have any friends. So going into 8th grade, I didn't really have many friends. And I remember being really sad and thinking like, I'm all alone in this. Like, I just felt so alone during that summer. And then I remember one night, me and my mom decided to take my dog Lexi for a walk, which we don't do that often, but I'm really thankful that this night we decided to. So I was out with my mom walking my dog Lexi, and we were taking a long walk, and we ran into my friends from elementary school, Randy. I'd known Randy for a little bit, and honestly, to this day, he's like one of my best friends, so thankful for him. And then we ran into my other friend, Julie, and me and Julie were friends in 6th grade, but kind of grew apart when we went to junior high. And I just remember seeing them being like, oh my gosh, like, is this going to be super awkward? But it wasn't. And then ran into my friend Kristen, and her and I were also friends in elementary school, but, you know, just going to junior high, we grew apart. So I was just kind of nervous, but then we ended up talking for hours and became this friendship right here. And we called ourselves Squadruplet because there were 4 of us, and it was just like a funny nickname for us. So then going into freshman year of high school, I had those 3 by my side, but, you know, I was looking forward to meeting new friends, and that is where I met my best friend, Sage. Sage is honestly like one of my best friend. Like, her and I just get along so well, and I can't imagine life without her, and I really hope that we will be friends forever. And we are actually roommates here at college, so it's been a fun adventure with her. And then January 22nd of 2016, I went to a party that would change my life. It was a birthday party for my friend Nick Sanchez, and he's just like this really funny, like, entertaining guy, and he invited a bunch of us over. And at that party, we met a bunch of people, and our friend group just grew. It grew from this small little thing of like, it came from the Squadruplet to like probably like 15 people. And I'm just really thankful for that night, and I'm just so happy that I met all these people because they've made a great impact on my life. And then from that group, there was a boy, and he was this football player at South, and his name was Nick. And, like, we flirted a lot, and I was like, oh, like, he's kind of cute, and, like, I liked him. I thought he liked me back. And turns out he didn't. He kind of just used me, and it kind of hurt, and I really wanted to date him. But throughout our thing, he eventually told me at one point, like, oh, I don't want to date you. And I was hurt, and that should have been like a big red flag, but I kind of just chose to ignore it. And like, I really wish that like my young self would have realized, like, hey, this guy is not interested. And I relied really heavily on my friends at this time because it really sucked. But even though it sucked, I came back. I was still like my happy self, and I was able to move forward. And I started to like my close friend Luke at the time. And Luke and I had been close for a really long time. But he was about to date this one girl, and, me and this one girl didn't really get along, so I didn't really like her, and I was like, oh, I don't really want you to date her, but he told me that he wanted to be with her right now, but that maybe someday him and I could get together, which didn't give me much hope, and I was really sad, and I just went into, like, this really depressed state where I was not happy with myself or who I was. And I found out later that Nick started a relationship with this one girl that he knew from his high school, and it hurt me. And I was like, when I realized that he was dating someone and that he didn't want to date me, and I felt like I was all alone again, and that no one really wanted me, and that I wasn't good enough for anyone. And all these really dark thoughts just kept popping into my head, and I was just really sad all the time, and that's not me at all. And I considered getting help, but eventually, I got back to my old self. It just took some time to heal, and I was really happy again. And eventually, I was, hanging out with my friends again, and so then eventually, a few months later, Luke and I did start dating. And I just remember being so happy, like, with him, and just, like, I don't even know how to describe it. He just made me so unbelievably happy, and our time together was great. And I was always wondering, like, if we were going to date in college, and we thought about it, and it was a really heartbreaking talk, but we decided that it would just be best to break up for college, as we were going to be kind of too far away from each other for it to be, easy. But, I'm here at Illinois State now, and I'm studying what I love, special ed, and I am rooming with some friends from high school and, my best friend Sage, and, I'm not really sure what the future holds for me and what path I'm going to be taking and who is going to be there with me all the way. But, there's these questions that will eventually get answered. But all I know is that I am really excited for every step of the way. And I thank you for watching my Draw My Life.